The Zoom call was about quarterly projections, and I was 3 seconds from falling asleep with my eyes open. Janet from accounting was droning on about revenue streams while I nodded robotically, my camera on, my brain completely checked out. My phone buzzed on the desk. Emily's name flashed across the screen with her school photo, gap-toothed smile, messy ponytail, holding her science fair trophy. FaceTime. I glanced at the clock. 11:05 a.m. I declined the call. She knew the rules. No calling during school unless it was an emergency. The phone immediately started ringing again. Irritation flared. I muted my Zoom microphone and accepted the call, ready to tell her this better be important. You can't call me during class. I'm in a... Dad? Her voice was wrong. Not the usual, Dad, can you bring me my gym shoes whine, or the Dad, what's for dinner sing-song. This was thin, stretched tight like a wire about to snap. What's wrong? My annoyance evaporated instantly. Are you okay? The camera was shaking. I could see beige, cinder block walls behind her, the underside of a desk. She was on the floor. Her face was pale, eyes too wide. Are you hurt? Is this a drill? I was already standing up, my chair rolling backward and hitting the wall. Dad, she whispered, and I could hear the tremor in her voice, see her hands shaking as she held the phone. Why are you here? You're scaring everyone. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? I'm at home. Look, you can see me. I'm in my office. No. She shook her head violently, her ponytail whipping back and forth. You're here, in the school. You just walked past our classroom. You looked wrong. Angry. Ice water flooded my veins. Emily, listen to me very carefully. That is not me. Do you understand? That's not me. Then who is it? She whispered. Because he looks exactly like you, Dad. Exactly. Same face, same clothes, same everything. And she sucked in a breath. He pulled the fire alarm, but Mrs. Patterson locked the door. She told us to hide. He's in the hallway. I was already moving, grabbing my keys from the hook, shoving my feet into shoes. Stay on the phone with me. Where are you right now? Under my desk. We're all under our desks. Mrs. Patterson is at the door. Oh God, Dad, he's coming back. Emily, he has keys. Her voice broke into a sob. Dad, he's unlocking our door. Hide. I was running down the stairs through my living room, my voice so loud I felt it in my chest. Get away from the door. Find somewhere to hide. Now. The camera flipped. Through the small, reinforced window in the classroom door, I saw him. Me. Not someone who looked like me. Not a distant resemblance. It was my face staring back through that window. My hairline, slightly receding at the temples. My nose that had been broken in high school and never quite healed straight. The same blue polo shirt I was wearing at that exact moment. He was smiling. A calm, patient smile as he worked a key into the lock. Then he looked directly at the camera. Directly at Emily. Directly at me. The screen went black. The call ended. I was on with 911 before I reached my car, screaming words I never thought I'd say. Active shooter. Roosevelt Middle School. Someone impersonating me. My daughter Emily Vance. Room 104. He's inside. He has keys. The dispatcher was trying to get me to calm down, asking me to repeat information, but I was already in the car, tires squealing as I reversed out of the driveway. Sir, are you certain? I just saw him on FaceTime. I was laying on the horn, blowing through a red light. He looks exactly like me. My daughter called me. She's hiding. He's unlocking her classroom. Officers are en route, sir. I need you to stay on the line. I hung up and called Emily again, straight to voicemail. I called the school's main office. It rang and rang and rang. No answer. 12 minutes. The school was 12 minutes away. I made it in 7. 3 police cruisers were already in the parking lot, lights flashing, officers running toward the building. I abandoned my car in the middle of the lot and sprinted after them. Emily Vance, I was shouting. Room 104. My daughter. An officer caught my arm at the entrance. Sir, you need to stay back. That's my daughter in there. I tried to pull free, but he held firm. Sir, the situation is contained. The suspect is in custody. I stopped fighting. What? The individual has been apprehended. He's in the principal's office. No one was injured. Emily, she's fine. She's with him now, giving her statement. With him? Confusion crashed over me like a wave. What do you mean with him? The officer's radio crackled. Sir, I'm going to need you to come with me. We walked through the empty hallways. Somewhere I could hear children crying, teachers speaking in hushed, urgent tones. Emergency lights still spinning, casting red shadows across the bulletin boards covered in student artwork. The principal's office door was open. Inside, sitting in a chair with a juice box, was Emily. She looked up when I entered, and her face crumpled with relief. Dad. But she didn't run to me. She stayed in her seat, because sitting next to her, also holding a juice box, was me. Or rather, the man who looked exactly like me. He turned his head slowly, and our eyes met. His expression shifted from blank to something almost sad, almost apologetic. Hey, Tom, he said quietly. My identical twin brother, David. I hadn't seen David in 10 years, hadn't spoken to him in 12. The restraining order was 13 years old, filed when Emily was still a baby. You, I breathed, and the rage came then, hot and bright. What did you do? A police officer stepped between us. Mr. Vance, I'm Officer Rodriguez. We need to sort out exactly what happened here. What happened is he violated a restraining order. I pointed at David, my hand shaking. He's not allowed allowed within 500 feet of my family. David stood up slowly, his movements calm and measured. I don't know what you're talking about, he said, and his voice was perfectly reasonable, perfectly sane. I came to pick up my daughter because there was a threat at the school. Your daughter? My voice came out as a roar. That's my daughter. Dad, Emily started, but David put a hand on her shoulder. It's okay, Emily, he said softly. This man is confused. He's been stalking our family for a long time. Officer Rodriguez looked between us, his confusion obvious. We were identical. Same height, same build, same face, even wearing the same clothes. I need to see some identification, Rodriguez said. Both of you. I fumbled for my wallet, pulled out my driver's license with shaking hands. David did the same, his movements unhurried. Rodriguez looked at both licenses, looked at us, looked at Emily. Emily, he said gently, which one is your father? Emily looked at me, then at David. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. That's my dad, she said, pointing at me. But that's also my dad. They look exactly the same. Honey, who came to your classroom? Rodriguez asked. He did. She pointed at David. He was in the hallway. He was trying to open our door. And did he say anything to you? David spoke before Emily could answer. I told her I was there to keep her safe, that there was a dangerous man in the school pretending to be me. That's a lie. I lunged forward, but another officer grabbed me. He's lying. I have a restraining order. Check the system. Rodriguez stepped into the hallway, speaking quietly into his radio. I could hear fragments. Twin brothers. Restraining order. Need verification. David sat back down next to Emily. I know this is confusing, he said to her, his voice gentle, but I'm going to make sure you're safe. Get away from her, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Tom. David looked at me, and for just a second, something flickered in his eyes. Something cold and calculating and completely aware. Then it was gone, replaced by that same sad, confused expression. I know you're sick. I know you think you're me, but you need help. Officer Rodriguez came back into the office, his radio still crackling. His expression was different now, more cautious. Mr. Thomas Vance, he said, looking at me. There's a restraining order on file, issued 13 years ago against David Michael Vance, your identical twin brother. The order stipulates no contact with you or your family members, including, he glanced at his notes, your daughter Emily Marie Vance, age 12. Relief crashed through me. Thank you. Thank you. So arrest him. Rodriguez turned to David. Sir, I'm going to need you to stand up and put your hands behind your back. David didn't move. He looked at Rodriguez with those calm, reasonable eyes. I understand there's confusion, but I think you have it backwards. I'm Thomas Vance. He's David. He pointed at me. He's the one with the mental health issues. He's been doing this for years, showing up places, claiming to be me, confusing my daughter. That's insane, I shouted. Call my wife. Call my boss. Call anyone who knows me. Your wife, Rodriguez said carefully, is Lisa Vance? Yes. Call her right now. Rodriguez stepped out again. The wait was agonizing. Emily was crying silently, her juice box forgotten on the desk. I wanted to go to her, to hold her, but the officers were watching both of us carefully, hands near their weapons. Emily, I said softly, it's me. It's Dad. You know it's me. I know, she whispered. But why does he look exactly like you? Why do you look exactly like him? Because we're twins. We were born at the same time, looking the same, but we're different people. I'm your dad. He's someone who used to be in my life. Why isn't he anymore? How do you explain mental illness to a 12-year-old? How do you explain that your identical twin, the person who shared your mother's womb, who has your exact DNA, is also capable of terrifying delusions? Because he got sick, I said carefully, in his mind, and he refused to get help, and that made him dangerous. David laughed. It was a soft, sad sound. That's exactly what he'd say, he told Emily. That's what people with his condition do. They project their illness onto others. Rodriguez came back in, phone in hand. Mrs. Vance is on her way. She'll be here in 20 minutes. He looked at both of us. Until she arrives and can provide positive identification, both of you are staying here. This is ridiculous, David said, but he was still calm, still collected. My daughter is traumatized. She needs to go home. Emily stays here, Rodriguez said firmly, until we sort this out. The next 20 minutes were the longest of my life. We sat in that office, me, David, Emily, and 3 police officers. No one spoke. I watched David. He looked relaxed, almost bored. He checked his phone, a phone I'd never seen before. He scrolled through something, occasionally smiling at the screen. Whose phone is that? I asked. He looked up. Mine, obviously. What's the number? He rattled off a number I didn't recognize. That's not your number. Your number is... I started to recite the number I remembered from 12 years ago. I changed it, David said simply. Years ago, when you started harassing me. It was masterful, really. Every answer perfectly reasonable. Every response designed to make me look like the unstable one. How did you get into the school? I asked. I have keys. I'm on the approved pickup list for Emily. No, you're not. I am. Check the list, David said to Rodriguez. Rodriguez left again, came back. There's a Thomas Vance on the list. Address is 447 Oakmont Drive. That's my address, I said. It's my address, David corrected. Where I live with my daughter. I can prove it, I said desperately. My wallet, look at my license. That's my address. Rodriguez examined both our licenses again. They had the same address. 447 Oakmont Drive. How? I stared at David. How did you get a license with my address? David smiled. I've always lived there, Tom. You're the one who's confused. And then I understood. This wasn't improvised. This wasn't David showing up randomly. This was planned, carefully, methodically planned. He'd been preparing for this for months, maybe years. The door burst open. Lisa rushed in, her face white, her purse half open, like she'd run straight from her car. Emily. She went straight to our daughter, pulling her into a fierce hug. Then she looked up, saw both of us and froze. Which? Rodriguez started. That's Tom, Lisa said immediately, pointing at me. That's my husband. And that, she turned to look at David, and her expression went cold. That's David, the psychotic twin brother we haven't seen in a decade. Relief made my knees weak. Thank you. Oh God, thank you. David stood up slowly. His calm expression finally cracked. Lisa, he said, and his voice was different now, harder. Don't do this. Don't do what? Lisa demanded. Tell the truth? You violated a restraining order. You terrorized our daughter's school. You're going to jail, David. You don't understand, David said. And now I could hear at the edge of mania creeping in. I was supposed to have this life. It was supposed to be mine. He took it from me. The officers moved to restrain David, but he held up his hands. I'm not going to run, he said quietly. What's the point? Rodriguez read him his rights, while another officer cuffed him. David didn't resist. He just kept staring at me. You don't even remember, do you? He said as they led him toward the door. Remember what? Jennifer Calloway, junior year. She liked me first, but you asked her out, and because we looked the same, she said yes, thinking I'd ask. His voice was rising now. And then Sarah Mitchell, and then Lisa, always the same. They'd meet us both, and they'd choose you, or they'd think they were choosing me, but it was you, and I'd be left with nothing. David, that's not, I was supposed to be the father, he shouted, lunging against the officer's grip. That was supposed to be my daughter, my wife, my house, my life, but you stole it. You stole all of it. No one stole anything, Lisa said, her voice shaking. I chose Tom because he was kind, because he was stable, because he got help when he needed it, instead of refusing medication and therapy like you did. David went quiet then, completely still. When he spoke again, his voice was flat. I could have been him. If I'd just taken the pills. If I just pretended everything was fine. I could have had all of this. You could have had your own life, I said softly. Your own family. Your own happiness. But you were so obsessed with mine that you couldn't build your own. They let him out. At the door, he looked back one more time. It should have been me, he whispered. Then, he was gone. Emily didn't go back to school for a week. The therapist said she needed time to process the trauma, to feel safe again. The school changed all their locks, added David's photo to the banned visitors list, though with our identical faces, it wouldn't help much. Lisa and I explained everything to Emily that night, showed her old photos of me and David as kids, identical twins who did everything together until high school, when David's mental health issues became impossible to ignore. Why didn't he get help? Emily asked. He did for a while, I said, but he hated the medication, said it made him feel fuzzy, not like himself, and without it, the delusions got worse. He became convinced that everyone was against him, that people were stealing his ideas, his identity, his life. Did you steal his life? She asked quietly. I thought about that, about Jennifer Calloway, who David had insisted I stole from him, but I remembered it differently. Jennifer had asked me to the movies, and when David found out, he'd flown into a rage, accused me of impersonating him. But had he asked her first? I honestly didn't remember anymore. I don't think so, I said carefully, but David believes I did, and to him, that's just as real as if it actually happened. The court case was quick. David pled guilty to violation of a restraining order, trespassing, and creating a public disturbance. The judge ordered mandatory psychiatric treatment in a secure facility. I visited him once. I'm not sure why. Lisa thought it was a terrible idea, but I needed to understand. He looked smaller in the hospital, deflated. They had him on medication now, and it smoothed out the manic energy, leaving him quiet and vague. I'm sorry, he said when I sat down across from him, for scaring Emily. Why did you do it? I asked. He was quiet for a long time. I see you on Facebook sometimes. Your happy family photos, your vacation pictures, Emily's school achievements, and I think that could have been me. If I'd just been different, if my brain had just worked right. You could still have a life, David. Get treatment. Stay on medication. There's still time. He smiled, but it was sad. No, there's not. I'm 43 years old. I've spent half my life being angry at you for having what I wanted. Even if I got better tomorrow, I'd just be alone in an apartment somewhere, working some minimum wage job because I can't hold down anything better, watching everyone else live the life I never got. So you decided to steal mine? I decided to borrow it, just for a day. I just wanted to know what it felt like. He looked at me, and for the first time in decades, I saw my brother. Not the paranoid, delusional version, just David. What does it feel like, Tom? To be normal? I didn't have an answer for that. Emily still looks over her shoulder sometimes, still checks that the person calling her name is actually me. The therapist says it's normal, that it'll fade with time. David is still in the facility. They say he's responding well to treatment, but he'll be there for a while. The restraining order has been extended indefinitely. Lisa and I talk about him sometimes, late at night when Emily's asleep. We wonder what would have have happened if David had gotten proper help earlier? If there had been better medication, better therapy, better support systems, we wonder if we could have done more. But mostly, we try not to wonder, because the truth is, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You can only protect yourself and your family from the collateral damage. Emily started writing about the experience. Short stories, journal entries, poems. Her therapist says it's healthy, that she's processing the trauma in a creative way. She showed me one yesterday. It was titled The Double. It's about how everyone has two versions of themselves, she explained. The one they show the world and the one they keep hidden. And sometimes the hidden one gets so loud that it takes over. That's pretty deep for a 12-year-old, I said. She shrugged. I learned it from Uncle David. Uncle David. She still calls him that. Not the man who scared me or Dad's psycho twin. Just Uncle David, the man who's sick. Maybe there's wisdom in that. In seeing people as more than their worst moments. In recognizing that David isn't a monster. He's a person whose brain betrayed him. But he's also someone who terrorized my daughter. Both things can be true. I still think about that question he asked me. What does it feel like to be normal? And the honest answer is, I don't know if anyone feels normal. We're all just pretending we have it figured out, hiding our doubts and fears and insecurities behind carefully constructed facades. The only difference between me and David is that my brain lets me maintain the illusion. His doesn't. And that, more than anything, is what keeps me up at night, because it could have been me. We share the same DNA, the same upbringing, the same genetic predisposition to mental illness. The only thing that separated us was luck. And how do you feel grateful for that without feeling guilty?